All right. Good morning. Thanks for watching the Dr. Simon's Metabolics and Weight Loss.
Good morning, everyone.
Facebook Live Ask Me Anything event, which we do every other Monday. We're in the Raleigh office where we're open today. We're open in both locations today. And we thank you for joining, being a part of this, and sending in questions. This is Michelle Kennedy. She's a nurse practitioner at our practice, and then I'm Dr. Simons, and most of you have seen us before and kind of used to the gig. Some of you may be new, and look, we just want to welcome you if you're new, and we thank everyone for joining us. Please like this video and leave us a question
or a comment. Just let us know you're watching. Exactly, and these are recorded, so you can share them. You can go back and watch old episodes. So we appreciate the viewing and encourage others to do it too. There's a lot of good information. Speaking of which, we have some really good questions today.
I do agree.
Yeah, we're going to start off with Jenny from Raleigh. Is there any truth to eating slower that will help you lose weight? This is a I think we're told all kinds of different things about quick tips and little tricks to help. Well, eating slower is a good thing, and we should all practice. You're just talking about that. We should all be eating slower, right?
Yeah.
It's not a weight loss tool specifically. It can help you have the time to feel full. Our bodies have a process by which when food goes in, a lot of hormones change in order to let our brain know, okay, you were hungry, now you've eaten, and now you're full. When you eat very quickly, that process cannot go through as quickly as you're eating. And so you can overeat before you actually feel that full feeling. Yes. And that can be a problem.
Yeah, that's correct. And, this, I must admit, I'm bad at this. I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm better at it than I used to be. But some of you are younger, but when you're my age, you got to realize you're not that far removed from folks who understood on a firsthand basis what happened during the Great Depression. So my grandparents lived through that, and they raised my parents in a way that there was a shortage, and you would never ever not eat everything on your plate. I mean, this was a criminal thing. And, you have to, I don't know how else to say, I'm going to try to say this in just the nicest way I can. At that time, you take going to the doctor as just something you do, and most people do it, and they get medicine for this, that, and the other. Well, at that time, we didn't have all these advances. And people, in many cases, didn't go to the doctor unless they were really very, very ill, and there weren't a ton of treatments available. And so things like birth control hadn't made the scene yet. And so families were big and during this time period. And the old joke was they'd gather around to eat, and there wouldn't be enough food exactly. And so that you'd say the grace. So the grace went like this: Father, Son, Holy Ghost, you eat the quickest, you get the most. Okay. And it was just your fault. If you didn't eat fast enough, you didn't get enough food. And so those folks who were familiar with those concepts raised me. And so I grew up eating fast. And then I joined the military, and it got worse because they're like, you got 5 minutes to eat, and we're going to stand here and yell at you the whole time, and you better eat it quick. All right. So this sort of thing makes for a weird psychology that's very hard to break, even now in my mid-50s, you see. So it's something you got to work on. You got to concentrate on this. You have to, and you can't, I mean, in today's world, you think about how fast we move and all that stuff. We're going from one place to the other place, or they're going to ball practice and work, ball practice. We're going to stop here, grab the pre-made meal. We're going to woof it down in the car. Just the kind of stuff that this is where eating fast gets to be a real problem. And you have to make a conscious effort to, hey, I'm going to eat this slow. Okay, whatever the scenario is, I'm going to take my time and eat this. And when I really work on this, when I really do it, it's surprising how my grocery bill goes down, because I don't end up eating as much food. Yeah. So anyway, it's I think that's the ticket to losing weight that you've made reference to here.
Right.
It's not something inherently about the eating slow, for example, that raises your metabolic rate. It just allows you to eat less because it allows all the signaling to catch up with your brain.
Yes.
You say, hey, I don't need anything else, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there are some tips that we give patients sometimes to try to slow them down. Using chopsticks, for instance.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that.
that.
I actually got really good at that, and I'm still really good at it for, how shall they say, in slang terminology, the standard gringo. I'm pretty good at chopsticks, even though I wouldn't fit in necessarily in a foreign country where they use those. For a guy that didn't grow up using them, I'm pretty good at it. And you can't get too much food with those things.
Exactly.
So it takes you longer to eat. You're right.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah.
Using smaller utensils sometimes can help, and trying to form a habit, a new habit of maybe putting the fork or spoon down between your bites. Some people will also try to count their chews. So there are different tricks that when you're trying to become a slower, more mindful, conscious eater, there are things that you can use to make it a little bit easier. So Jenny, take some of those, maybe get some chopsticks out and see how it goes. Thank you everyone for joining us. Please like this video, give us a comment, share it. We'd love to hear from you, especially if you're using chopsticks to eat.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Anytime, but my family or whatnot orders from a Chinese restaurant, I don't eat very much Chinese food because of the stuff that usually goes on it. It's stuff I don't eat, but I always have them get the chopsticks because they'll eat it with a fork, but I save the chopsticks. I keep them in my silverware drawer. So it's just funny.
I keep them too.
There's all these little packs of soy sauce and the chopsticks in there. So, oh gosh. Okay. So Margot from Raleigh's got a question, right?
Yes. She's scared yo-yo dieting will damage her heart.
Yeah.
Is this true? And what's the best way to stop it? This is a very, very good question because a lot of us, men and women, are guilty of suffering from weight regain after we've lost it. It's part of the process. And some of us do it more than others, and some of us, the swings in weight are bigger than others. And while that can be a problem, we can get into that. I want to preface by saying that never is a reason to not try again.
That's right.
Okay, so we can definitely talk about the yo-yo, but even if there are some health or metabolic issues with weight gain and loss, that still does never outweigh the benefit of losing weight once again, and then working to keep it off. And that's what we do here. We try to help you maintain it, not just lose it.
Yeah. So the way that I view this question is that. And look, there really hasn't been any solid reproducible study to back up this idea that the yo-yoing is somehow bad for you. There was some suggestion in a couple studies a long time ago, but it really hasn't been a reproducible thing over and over again when you conduct these sorts of studies. If you get obese and you stay obese, this is the problem. This is the most dangerous thing for your heart. Okay. And we actually, in science in medical science, a big group of losers. We call them the National Weight Control Registry, right? I say that, the big group of losers. They're people who've lost weight and kept it off successfully. That's what it takes to get in this registry. And we survey these because we want to know, what does it take to lose weight and then to keep it off, right? What are they doing, right? And so one of the things about that registry that's always struck me is that when you survey them and you ask them, well, how many times did you have to lose weight, gain it back, lose weight again before you lost it and kept it off? And 100% of the people, and we're talking about thousands of people here, okay, in the registry, 100% of them said they lost and gained weight multiple times before they ever lost it and kept it off. What's the message? The message is, it is a process. Michelle made reference to this. You're going to lose, you're going to gain, you're going to lose, you're going to gain, you're going to lose, and you're going to gain. And every time you're doing that, you're gaining some experience. You're learning something about yourself. And I always say this, I keep saying it, the finish line's the grave. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And sometimes during that marathon, some miles you're going to be cruising, and some miles it's not going to be so good. And to be successful, you just have to get in the process and embrace this process, right? Because if you really want to lose weight and keep it off, you have to kind of accept the fact that you may lose some gain multiple times before you lose it, keep it off. But you know what doesn't work? It's never trying, because you don't want to embrace that process, because you're worried the process itself is somehow unhealthy. No, the road to getting healthy and staying healthy is going through that process.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're here to help. You know, if you're considering either starting as a new patient or restarting because you haven't been in a little while, give us a call, right? This is a judgment-free zone. Yeah. It doesn't matter what's happened, you know, between last visit and this visit. We're starting fresh if we need to.
That's right.
Or we're going back to what we know works, just with some support and some medication.
That is exactly right. We're here to encourage you. Remember, you know, you should never go to a place that makes you feel guilty about this sort of thing. Never. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. You're making yourself, you feel bad about yourself and you put yourself under this condemnation. They should never do that to you. This is a very difficult thing to lose weight and keep it off. There's a real biochemistry behind it. It's not that you have a character flaw. So, you know, we really understand this concept, and we just want to encourage you, hey, get back in the race. You know, you're normal. If you're going up and down, you're normal. Okay. There's no such thing as a person who loses it one time and keeps it off. No. This is unheard of, right? So anyway, we're here for you. We're here to help you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question. That was a good one. So Charlie from Durham, after losing 15 pounds myself, I've hit a plateau. What's the best way to overcome it? This almost ties into the previous question, because plateaus are also a completely normal, expected part of a weight loss journey. I mean, maintenance is just a really long plateau. That's exactly what it is.
That's it.
We're aiming for a plateau, that's right, you know. So the 15 pounds, congratulations. I'll say with that. That's awesome, Charlie. I know it can be frustrating to lose weight, kind of be on a roll, and then feel like everything kind of came to a grinding halt. And I will also define a plateau. So in our practice, a plateau is 4 or more weeks without any weight loss. So things prior to that, you know, the week where you don't move, 2 weeks where you don't move, even 3 weeks where you don't move, that is actually completely expected, normal. The 4 weeks is even kind of expected and normal, but warrants a change. Yeah. That's when we're going to do something different. Something needs to change in the dietary pattern, in the fitness pattern, in the sleep, in the stress relief, or in the medication regimen. Yeah. So what would you say after 15 pounds? Yeah. Charlie said
it's normal, like Michelle says, and your body memorizes. Biologically, it memorizes certain points. We call these set points, and you're coming down, boom, you get stuck on one, and your body fights you. It doesn't want you to go below that, right? And this is very complex biologically, and this is by this idea of just telling people to eat less and exercise. I would rather hear a donkey bray at a tin barn at midnight. Okay, this is way more. That's a Texas Southern colloquial expression for those of you who've never heard something like that.
I've never heard that, actually. That was a new one for me.
Yeah, I'd rather hear a donkey bray in a tin barn at midnight. In other words, it's useless information to tell someone to, you know, to eat right and exercise, because this is much more complex. Our bodies are very complex biological organisms, and they're doing stuff that you know, sometimes we can't really figure out. And the set point idea is one of them in science, but we really hadn't figured out the whole deal on this, right? But I know this, you got to do something different to break it. And that's my experience. And it's never, in most cases, it's not the same exact thing. So if I had 10 people here and I told them all to do the same thing, it wouldn't work for all 10 of them, right? Some of them are going to have to experiment a little bit, you know, and I've seen all sorts of different things work. Sometimes it's more exercise, sometimes it's more sleep, as you talked about. I mean, REM sleep is important. And if you're not getting enough of it, then it enhances this idea of I'm staying on the plateau. All of a sudden you start getting some more sleep, and guess what? Bam, your weight comes down, right? So stuff like that makes a big difference. So again, it could be more exercise, it could be more sleep, it could be less food, it could be maybe playing around with the macronutrient ratios, maybe going on an intermittent fast regimen. All this sort of thing, you know, involves a little bit of experimentation, and you should take note. Hey, this is what busted me off this plateau, right? It may be kind of a combination of those things. And that's why I don't think that there ever is going to be one right answer for everybody. It's always going to be kind of a blend of these sorts of things. Again, thanks for joining us. Make sure and like the video. These are always available after the fact for you to share and come back and watch, and we hope you will. Okay, so don't be discouraged, Charlie.
No, don't be discouraged.
You can break the plateau, brother.
Absolutely.
Or maybe it could be
either
lady or man, Charlie.
Yeah.
So either way, I'm not sure which one it is here, but you can break that plateau. So Stacy from Lake Forest, right?
Stacy is saying that she's embarrassed to show her body, asking will she need to show her stomach during the visit? And the answer is no. No, you do not. So we are a medical practice, but we do not make you strip down or put on a gown or anything that may make you feel uncomfortable. We listen to your heart. We take your blood pressure, right? We make sure that there's no reason we would need to do any further testing or blood work. We really like when people have been going regularly to their primary care and to their GYN so that they have all that primary care stuff taken care of and they're getting regular blood work. So we can really focus on how to help you with your weight journey and not have to worry about doing that ancillary stuff. If we need to, we will, but making you take your clothes off or show your abdomen or any place that you're not comfortable with is not something that you will encounter here at our practice.
Yeah, that's right. And then, I mean, if you want to be our before and after for the billboard out here on the interstate, that's fine. We'll let you do that. Most people don't want to do that.
Right.
So,
and it's not a requirement.
And it's definitely not a requirement. Don't worry. We're not doing things to make you feel uncomfortable other than probably stepping on a scale.
Right. Yeah. And that's an important point, just to give you a kind of an understanding of what a new visit looks like and then maybe what a follow-up visit looks like. So our new patients fill out some medical history, diet history, social information before they come in on some paperwork. And then the appointment is with a medical provider, like a nurse practitioner like myself, a physician assistant, Dr. Simons, and we will by weighing you and then going through your paperwork together, making sure we understand everything you need us to know to best help you and really understand what you're really looking for. Is it a specific medication that you had success with in the past? Is it really good dietary support? We can do all of those things. And we come up with an individualized plan together. We take your blood pressure. We do listen to your heart and lungs, feel your thyroid. None of that involves taking any clothing off, except maybe if you have something thick on your arm to take your blood pressure, we're going to ask you to remove it. And then we decide what the plan will be with medications, supplements, doing a dietary pattern and exercise, pattern plans. And then you go on your way. We have a pharmacy on site. So if we prescribe medication, you can leave with it. We have wonderful supplements, CBD oil, vitamins, vitamin D, which is so big right now. So we have things that if you need it, and then all this food, if you decide to have some, you can take it before you leave. And then a month later, usually you come back and that visit is a little shorter. So we weigh you, we do take your blood pressure, but that visit is really to talk about how have things been going and does anything need to change? Okay, so that's kind of a more like goal-oriented visit. And then we keep doing that every month. If you need it more often, we continue to do it more often. If you need it less often, maybe an option as well. So just talk to the provider about that. But either way, just Stacy, if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're not sure about it, check out some of our videos, check out our website, give us a call. We are absolutely here to help with no judgment and no bearing of the midriff if you do not feel comfortable doing so.
That's right. Look, we're not going to make you sign a contract either. We're not one of those kind of places. You can find out a lot more information about what we do at simonsmetabolics.com. And so our goal isn't to make you feel uncomfortable.
No. I tell my patients a lot, the biggest critic is the person in the mirror. All right. No one else deserves to have any judgment at all. And I wish we would judge ourselves less, but that's not really going to happen. But we need to be kinder to ourselves, but we need to expect more from the people who are not treating us kindly. And that may even be within the medical community. I know I mentioned earlier, that there is this eat less, exercise more, and there's this judgment, and that is unacceptable, and we have to get that out. We have to. We know that our patients are some of the hardest working patients, the hardest working people. And it is discouraging to be working hard, but not have it be recognized by the people you want to recognize it. So hang in there, let us know if you need extra support from us, or if you need guidance on how to deal with maybe someone else who's not being helpful along your journey. But we want to empower people, really. And that starts with the first visit and then continues from there. So,
that's right.
thank you, Stacy.
Okay, Melissa. Melissa from Durham has a good question. I think that really applies to a lot of folks.
Absolutely. She's asking about her daughter.
Right.
We have a lot of patients with this too. So her daughter has gained weight from being on steroids. In her case, it was related to her asthma, which is a common breathing condition that you need to go on steroids a lot in some cases. She's asking, is there any way to prevent this? And the answer is yes, I would say. It's hard because steroids are a kind of medication that are wonderful at lowering inflammation and helping you feel better if you have asthma or a severe respiratory infection or some other kind of infection. They work. They really do. However, they do come with some issues related to our blood sugar and our stress hormone, cortisol, and that can cause increase in appetite and to water retention. So they're not fun from a side effect standpoint, but because they're so widely used, they're so effective, we do have to deal with those side effects and those consequences. And part of our metabolic assessment and our new patient visit goes over things like, are you on steroids currently? Have you been on them before? Do you cycle on and off them? Because that's going to matter in the treatment plan. I always tell folks when they are taking steroids to be extra cautious about being on a low carbohydrate diet. Drinking plenty of water, really restricting refined sugars and starches, because a steroid is kind of already making your blood sugar do this roller coaster thing.
Sure is.
And if you're eating a bunch of sugar, or drinking juice on top of it, it's a problem. It's bigger roller coaster, and that's going to be an issue for weight gain and for really increasing the appetite, not helping manage the appetite. And we also use a medication a lot in our practice, I mentioned, called metformin. And you've heard us talk about it before on our AMAs. And metformin is really remarkable in how it helps regulate blood sugar and insulin. Yes, it helps keep that in check, and it can be used in most preteens and teens. And I think, look, medicine. Think of the medicine that we use here as either really slowing down or stopping that weight gain, and even causing someone to be able to lose weight during that time. You won't lose weight as fast if you're on prednisone. Right. But look, most people we see on prednisone are gaining weight, and they're gaining it rapidly. Yeah. So just putting a stop to that is the first step. And it takes medicine in most cases to be able to. These steroids will dramatically increase your cravings and desire for sugary things and carbohydrate-laden things. And so taking some medicine to help with that makes a difference. Getting on a low-carb diet, which will keep your insulin level more in check, will also decrease those cravings. So we really try to help with that, because asthma is not the only condition that we see where steroids are used. Right. Yeah, they're used in a lot of conditions. And so anyway, it's a common thing that we run into. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. We do see this a lot. I think really it's not just, I would just say that extends to other kind of medications. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And so you think really one kind of class of medications that really has this problem too are things used to treat various psychiatric conditions like depression or anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. These things can be notorious for this sort of thing and can put on tremendous amounts of weight if you don't combine it with some of these medicines that we use here to try to really stop that weight gain. The psychiatrists are getting a lot more in tune with that concept than they used to be. Yes, but we see this all the time. So the concept is not unusual here, and we're used to dealing with it. Yeah. Exactly. And there are even blood pressure medicines. Just to give you an idea, it's not just psychiatric meds or steroids. Right. There are even common blood pressure medicines and cardiac medicines that can make it harder to lose weight and easier to gain weight. And again, this metabolic assessment that we do here in our practice helps individuals understand that putting the same amount of effort in when you're on one of those medications may result in slower weight loss. That doesn't mean you will not lose weight, but it is a potential barrier or kind of a road bump that we have to know that we're approaching, and we have to get through it knowing that, our expectations are going to have to be a little different. But again, we have medications to help counteract that, maybe take down how high that speed bump is, make it a little easier to get over. And in our practice, we are comfortable using all medications that are approved by the FDA for weight loss. Many we have on site here in our pharmacy, including the metformin and including a very popular appetite suppressant phentermine, because they work. They're extremely helpful. They've been around for decades. And for things like weight gain, where other medications are partially to blame for it, they can be extremely helpful, especially that metformin to add to the regimen. That's right. So Melissa, you can give us a call or talk to your daughter's pediatrician about what other options there could be to help with the weight gain. Thanks for your question. All
right, last question from Elise in Raleigh. She wants to know about being on her menstrual cycle and cravings that are really bad. Can medication help, or is this just an unwinnable circumstance? And the answer is medications help.
Yes.
They help.
Yes, they do.
They absolutely help.
Yeah. And we have many women in our practice who say the same thing as you, Elise. They say, there's that 1 week or that 5 days or that 10 days out of the month where I get really derailed. I'm more hungry. I have more cravings. My body feels different. And that's normal, right? As women, at each and every day, it is different within a month. With men, I've heard this before, men is kind of like a foghorn, and women, it's like this intricate orchestra where everything's happening, like it has to be all in sync. And so it can be more difficult when you are dealing with the rhythm of the menstrual cycle. And I already did mention a medication called metformin, which sometimes can help with that. In general, can help with cravings. But sometimes we'll use other medications specifically for that time. So maybe it's not something you take every day of the month, but maybe it's something you do take that week, or maybe it's a different dosage of something that you're on that you take that week. Yeah. And there are also supplements. L-glutamine is an amino acid that we know can have a lot of benefits for cravings. And I do have some women using that successfully during their premenstrual time where they're having more of those cravings. They take 500 milligrams of L-glutamine up to 4 times a day, and that can really help. But I think in general, you are not imagining this. This is absolutely something that's happening, and it is not unwinnable. It's something that we can absolutely help you with to make sure that you are successful in your journey and you're not derailed every 4 weeks in that regard. So give us a call. Again, we're open. Just to remind y'all again, we do have phone visits. I know we talked about that in previous appointments. We are asking individuals who are able to come in, but we still do have the option to do your visit over the telephone and to pick up your medication or have it shipped to you right from our office. So if being in the practice is not something you're comfortable with, give us a call and we'll set up a phone visit. And thanks again for watching. I guess that wraps it up unless you had anything else.
No, thanks for watching. You can get more information at simonsmetabolics.com. And we really appreciate your attendance and your loyalty here. And we look forward to seeing you again in a couple weeks.
Have a good week, everyone.
All right. Take care.